Zelated, thank you for your love and support. I appreciate you all. Look at what is happening right now in the Sahel region of West Africa. Look at Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. These three countries came together in the city of Ouagadougou. They called their leaders, their ministers for energy and mining, to sit down in one room. Why did they sit together? Because they want to answer one big question. What will our children do with all the rich things hidden inside our land? For a very long time, foreign people took our gold, our oil, our uranium, and our gas. They carried everything away in raw form. They paid us very small money, took our stuff to their countries, made expensive things out of it, and sold it back to us at high prices. We did the hard work to dig the ground, but other people took the wealth and enjoyed it. That unfair time is over. Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger are saying no more. They want to work together as one family. Look at how much wealth is sitting right under our feet across Africa. Niger has uranium to build power plants. Niger has natural gas and oil. Mali has lithium to make big batteries for electric cars. Burkina Faso has rich farmland to grow food, and they have plenty of gold under the ground. In past, our leaders did not talk to each other. They did not work as friends. Each leader was running alone to ask rich foreign countries for money and permission. But today, these three countries are moving together. They are not waiting for donor money to hold a meeting. They are not asking permission from foreign powers anymore. They are taking their own fate into their own hands.
Solid in its economic sovereignty based on the energy and mineral resources of the confederal space. The three countries have committed themselves to validating structuring documents that will allow the dream to take shape and become reality. This is the first meeting of the ministers in charge of energy, mines, and petroleum from the AES countries. It is being held under the effective high patronage of the Burkinabe Prime Minister. The opening of the meeting with Urbain Benite Somé and Sekou Zongo.
The Burkinabe capital at the heart of cooperation in the energy, mining, and petroleum sectors of the countries of the Confederation of Sahel States. This first meeting in Ouagadougou is the starting point of a vision, that of no longer just sharing resources, but of giving meaning to the union between the countries of the confederal space.
We are not just gathered here today to simply harmonize a few additional texts, but to ensure our message is clear. We have gathered here today to seek to answer this significant historical question. What will our future generations do with the truly immense and untapped wealth that nature has so generously endowed our Sahel region with? Today, here in Ouagadougou, we are finally taking a bold and decisive new step forward. We are officially moving away from the long time of mere intentions and into the concrete time of building lasting institutions. We are fundamentally moving from simple cooperation to the hard work of construction, ensuring a legacy for those who follow. Comrades, for decades, our economic history has been summed up by an unfair equation. In the beginning, we were the ones who produced the raw materials, while others stepped in to produce the value and the wealth. That specific era, however, now firmly belongs to the past, and we must look toward a new way of doing things. It is time to move forward.
Our commitment is based on diverse national experiences, but also on the shared vision of a confederation that is strong in its union, capable of asserting itself and imposing mining and energy governance that protects our peoples, attracts responsible investments, and anchors our choices in sustainability. This ministerial meeting in Ouagadougou is an important turning point for us, in the sense that it will allow for the implementation of endogenous solutions to our problems through the pooling of our expertise and resources in order to build partnerships that respect our sovereignties.
It is therefore a commitment to make the energy and mining resources of the AES Confederation a driver of sustainable development and economic sovereignty. It is therefore a matter for the ministers in charge of energy, mines, and petroleum of the countries of the Alliance of Sahel States Confederation to validate the structuring documents resulting from the experts' work. Thus, to open a new horizon for value creation for future generations with the transformation of resources as the primary goal.
Sovereignty in a general sense effectively requires that we have sovereignty at the sectoral level. And on that note, the energy issue is essential for our states. Energy sovereignty is essential because it is the foundation that must be able to support all socio-economic sectors. As you know very well, where there is energy, there is life. Where there is energy, an entire economic fabric develops. Where there is energy, it also means improving the living conditions of our populations. Moreover, you also know that our sovereignty in general must also be achieved through a much more judicious exploitation of our soil and subsoil. On that note, we want to ensure that we can move together towards harmonizing our legal framework so that in truth the exploitation of our subsoil can first and foremost benefit the AES space.
This first meeting of the ministers in charge of energy, mines, and petroleum from the countries of the Confederation of Sahel States paves the way for a bright future for all the populations of the confederal space. It is therefore a meeting that paves the way for a Sahelian energy mix capable of transforming everything so that energy and mineral resources shine for the great benefit of the peoples of the Sahel.
A meeting to lay the solid foundations for economic sovereignty based on energy resources.
In charge of mines, oil and energy for the 3 AES countries. 4 days of work to examine draft text for the Confederation. But behind these texts, a question arises. What should the underground resources really bring to the populations of the AES? Oil, gas, uranium, gold, and other minerals are at the heart of the 3 countries' economies. For the ministers of the region, their exploitation must no longer just generate revenue. It must, above all, contribute to concretely changing the lives of the populations.
The value of our resources will be measured by their impact on the lives of our citizens. I deeply believe that our wealth should not be evaluated solely in tons extracted or barrels produced. It must be measured in the number of sustainable jobs created, the vital skills developed for the future, the Sahelian businesses strengthened through investment, and the generations prepared to lead their communities forward. This is the true metric of our success.
As a quantum physicist, I can tell you they turned Kundalini into woo on purpose, so you'd never learn.
Among the documents submitted for the experts' review are the general framework for the exploitation of energy and mining resources and the harmonized framework for the Confederation's energy policies. Texts which, for the Burkinabe Prime Minister, go far beyond simple administrative documents.
They must be understood for what they are. Instruments of economic action, tools of sovereignty, and benchmarks for building a new Sahel. This meeting carries a major responsibility. The conclusions you reach will commit the future of our peoples. They must therefore faithfully and courageously reflect the deep aspirations of our populations and be translated into clearly defined priorities, schedules, responsibilities, and monitoring mechanisms.
This common vision directly concerns the energy and mining sovereignty of the 3 states. For Mali, this dynamic goes beyond the mere economic framework.
The events that led to the creation of the AES, as well as the significant actions taken by the 3 heads of state in a complex geopolitical context, prove to us that the AES is not just a simple alliance. It is a promise of solidarity in the face of global challenges. A Sahelian response to the issues of energy sovereignty, mining development, and transparency in the management of mineral resources.
At the conclusion of these proceedings, the adopted text should make it possible to strengthen cooperation between the 3 states and lead to an exploitation of resources that is more focused on the populations of the AES.
Think about what happens if we build a real link between our countries. Burkina Faso can grow enough food to feed the whole region. Niger can use its uranium to give cheap power and electricity to everyone. Mali can use its lithium to build industries. When our country makes one thing and another country makes another thing, we build a strong chain that nobody can break. When you build industries and make things by yourself, you create good jobs for young people. Right now, many young people in Africa are holding guns and fighting in the bush because they have no jobs, no hope, no future. They are angry and hungry. But if we build factories, if we build roads that connect one country to the other, these young people will be busy working. They will build roads, make phones, and run power plants. They will not have time to hold guns or join bad groups to fight their own brothers and sisters. If we unite today and start making things ourselves, in 10 years, Africa will be at peace. When people are working and eating well, trouble stops. The big foreign powers and enemies of Africa are not happy about this. They are looking for every chain to stop us. How do they do it? They use us against ourselves. They pay some of our own brothers to create fights, bend down laws, and cause trouble inside our homes. They want us to stay weak so they can keep taking our mineral for free. They want the African divided so they can continue to have their way in Africa. But the moment the African decides that enough is enough, we are creating and uniting, this power loses control over the African. Their influence no longer works. The youth are busy. Men and women are busy. No one is idle for the workshop of the devil. That is why Africans are fighting for unity. And these three nations, Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, have just declared total war on the West. We need to start connecting ourselves. We need to build the railways to connect ourselves. We cannot talk about a free trade Africa where we are not connecting anything, where we still believe in importation of food. Like Captain Ibrahim Traore once said, these people came to him, Western powers, asking him to accept some things that he can put in the food of these GT people. This thing is going to damage the brain, cause a whole lot of things to our youth. These are our people. All that they need is education, no matter what had happened. We all need to train them like Mali did train some of them, and now they are part of the military to fight against their brothers who haven't understood the fight in which we are in. Like the president of Niger, Abdurrahman Tiani, called them stateless people. And when we educate them, we can win together. So Africa needs to unite. This is what we are talking about. The unity that the youth are calling for is what the leaders in Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso are doing. Teaching the rest of Africa how to really get the African solution to the African problem. And not for us to continue to be running and implementing things that the people who are oppressing us have laid down for all these years. We have seen how they come into the continent, the deals we sign with them, 7, 8, 10% most. And when these leaders succeed in getting just 10% out of the 100, we see how these democratically elected leaders are hailing them. So what we need is not about calling other people, borrowing and moving from one place to the other in the West, in America, to be begging. But how other people will be contributing their little way? What can Nigeria bring? What can Ghana bring? What do we have? This is how we solve the African problem. And the leaders in Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso are doing exactly what we have been preaching in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, for all these decades. But why is it that the leaders in Africa are not seeing what they are doing, and the West and all that they are looking at human rights violation? What is so big than this? Creating the factories, creating the jobs, and making us to control everything and getting ourselves busy so that all of us can be satisfied. Like Captain Ibrahim Traore said, his aim is to make sure that every Burkinabe goes to bed with the stomach full. We are teaching our children not to even love agriculture, because when somebody does something wrong in school, we punish the person to be weeding. So indirectly, we are telling these children that weeding is bad. That this is what gives people money. People are making millions of money. Like they said, Bill Gates is a farmer and the person is rich. So why do we create the mentality that farming is bad when our young ones can actually be making a living out of farming? Africa needs to unite, and we must all join in declaring this war, and we need to win this war in order to make Africa free. This is why we love the leaders in Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. We want to control our narrative. We are the only ones that can set ourselves free. United we stand, divided we fall, and united we keep standing forever and ever. The greatest enemy of the African is mental slavery. So let's decolonize ourselves from mental slavery. Let's keep sharing to educate our brothers and sisters. Together we'll make Africa great for ourselves and the next generations that are going to come. So that's the latest around the world in Africa, West Africa, and in AES.